You are watching the Notre Dame Recruiting Update with Mike Singer. Hola, everybody, and happy Cinco de Mayo. Thank you for joining us for another Friday of Notre Dame football recruiting. What is going on, everybody? Hit that like button as we get into the show today, and be sure you are a subscriber to our channel here at Blue and Gold on YouTube. Get in the comments. You're going to have to be a subscriber to do that, but once you click that subscribe
It's
button,
expensive though, Trey, to be a subscriber on our YouTube channel, right?
Mike, I guess it's these days with the way the economy. You know what? It's not. It's free. It's as simple as clicking a button. So that's all you have to do. Same with the like. It is very easy, guys. We made it as easy as possible. We know you got a lot going on with Cinco de Mayo. We know your judgment might be slightly impaired. So we've made it as simple as we can. You're just clicking a couple buttons and then getting in the comments while you're just typing on that keyboard. Maybe it's a phone, whatever you got. Let us know where you're watching from today. Let us know your thoughts on everything going on in the world of Notre Dame recruiting, Notre Dame football. Let us know what your plans are for Cinco de Mayo. Mike, I know you're a Taco Bell aficionado, big fan. So this is a big day for you. I know you got tacos in your future. What's going on, man?
Trey, I have an announcement to make. I'm known as the Taco Bell guy, the Joe Walt guy, the Steve Angeli guy, also the Taco Bell guy. My favorite thing above Taco Bell is Buc-ee's. I've talked about Buc-ee's before. It is my number one thing now. Taco Bell, I just love the food, but I don't love the organization. Like, I don't love what Taco Bell, how they change up their menu all the time. When I go to Buc-ee's, and I promise folks watching back or watching live, we will get to Notre Dame recruiting topic soon. But I'm very passionate about this. When I go to Buc-ee's, I'm like, oh, they raised their sandwich prices a little bit. That's fine. I feel like this is the Lord's, it's people talk about Chick-fil-A, this is the Lord's chicken. Buc-ee's, I feel like this is the Lord's just establishment, though. I mean, where else can you buy some ammo and a brisket sandwich and some home decor? I mean, seriously, the place is amazing. I went twice this week, actually, and yeah, I got one about an hour from me. Made it down there twice. So it's the place to be, man. Buc-ee's. If you know,
Well,
you know.
I think the Lord had his hand in the bathroom situation there as well, because
it's so good, man. They have the little hand sanitizer dispensers next to every single urinal. I mean, come on.
Great privacy. It's an awesome stop. And this is your stop for Notre Dame football recruiting. Let's get into it here, Mike. We can talk tacos, burritos, food a little bit later on. Maybe some margaritas. I don't know what you got on tap, but let's get into the show here a little bit. We're going to talk rankings a little bit. Maybe if Notre Dame should be in line for a rankings bump. Maybe some individuals as well. We're going to get into a stock report later on in the show. And real quick, let's get the bills out of the way here. Let's pay the bills so we can get to all the
displaced corporate veterans. We need to
let's talk about the
Ludicky. Andy Ludicky, Trey.
Ludicky. I think I've been saying Ledecky, and that's my apologies.
I had been as well.
I've just been so stressed and so bogged down by the overwhelming amount of displaced corporate executives that are out there. We don't need that to be the case anymore. We need you to get hooked up with Andy Ludicky. Call our guy. He is a franchise expert. He's a veteran in the world of franchises, in the world of business, big college sports fan as well. He loves the Fighting Irish. And if you're an experienced entrepreneur, you want to diversify, you want to put your career in your own hands, give him a call. Go check them out at myperfectfranchise.net. His services are 100% free, guys. He's going to get you hooked up with that perfect franchise, going to get your business on track, going to help you as an entrepreneur to diversify, to get everything all organized, unlike Mike's Taco Bell. So check him out, myperfectfranchise.net. Andy Ludicky, we're gonna have to triple check there because I'm still not 100% sure, but give him a call and go check him out. You see it on screen there, guys. myperfectfranchise.net. He is going to get your perfect or your franchise pretty perfect here. He's going to get our corporate executives placed. Let's get into Notre Dame football recruiting a little bit here, Mike. Everybody wants to complain. Everybody looks at the rankings. They might not think their team, is quite high enough. They might not think the players in their class are ranked quite high enough. Maybe they didn't get the star they wanted. Notre Dame, they have some big time commits here, Mike. Which of these commits do you think should be in line for a rankings bump?
All right. In full transparency, for these shows, we like to do like the big topics. Like, what are some of the big things going on? And we do the show every Friday. Maybe we'll miss one a month. But we do the show every Friday. So like since we recorded last Friday, there hasn't been a ton going on. So sometimes I'll just like look on our message board, look at articles we've written at Blue and Gold, be like, all right, what have we written about? What are people talking about? And this was one, the which Notre Dame commits should get a rankings bump. And the first one is, and we went, Kyle Kelly and I did this article we called Mike versus Kelly, or excuse me, Mike versus Kyle, and take a topic and we both just kind of break down our thoughts. And so this was it, which Notre Dame commit should get a bump. And the first one's obvious. And we were looking at just the On3 rankings because I think, 24/7 ESPN rivals have him, I think, ranked, favorably. Whereas On3 is just on the whole other end of this. And it's like, oh, On3 hates Notre Dame. Yeah, there's many there's a few Notre Dame commits who are ranked much higher by On3 than the industry. But look, I always say those ranking guys have a pretty hard job. Oh, but Mike, this is the easiest thing in the world. CJ Carr, if you watch his tape, he's amazing. Look, I agree, but at the end of the day, there's two things. One, is this a subjective business? For those rankings guys, I would rather them go with what they truly believe than pander to a fan base who's upset. And I think you guys would as well, because if CJ Carr were committed to Michigan, you would agree with the On3 ranking. Like, just be completely honest with yourself. If CJ Carr was not committed to Notre Dame, you would not be up in arms about his ranking. It's just because he's a Notre Dame guy and you love him. That's totally fine, but let's just be completely honest, Notre Dame fans. If you're committed to Michigan or USC or insert school name here that you do not like, you would not care at all about this ranking, and you'd maybe agree with it. So that's kind of my second thought, is that you wouldn't be up in arms with Michigan fans. So that's kind of my message to Notre Dame fans on this. But yeah, the ranking here, I just don't agree with. I mean, I think that CJ Carr is a superstar. Charles Powers has said that this is not a great quarterback class, especially compared to last year. I disagree. I think this class is really good, especially if CJ Carr is the number 4 guy. I mean, are you kidding? Or excuse me, number 12 guy. I mean, yeah. Now we got some footage here from the Pylon tournament I saw in Knoxville, where you could count on you just needed 2 hands to count the amount of incompletions he had over like 6 games. He was very good there. He's got the shortcut on. The shortcut looks clean as well. Mike Singer got his cut yesterday as well, trying to get my CJ Carr haircut on, and yeah, he was really good. So I think it's very obvious that if you're going to talk about Notre Dame commits who should be in store for a bump, it's CJ Carr. So I'll talk about the next guy, but I'll leave this Carr footage on. The next player for me is Jack Larson, 2024 tight end commit for Notre Dame, ranked as a 3-star by On3 and the number 33 tight end in the country. 24/7 ESPN and Rivals have them 15, 6, and 10 respectively. So this is another one that I don't really agree with. I think that he's shown in multiple settings for me. I've seen him 3 times now. I saw him the day he announced his commitment. Actually, I saw him throw some teammates. I saw him at the Irish Invasion camp last year, and I saw him in a game setting, and he's just been phenomenal in all the settings that I've seen Jack Larson at. So, yeah, just I don't know. I mean, maybe ESPN like number 6 tight end in the country. Maybe that's a little too high, but I mean, he's a no doubter top 20 guy. I mean, I think that Larson will shoot up the rankings. It should just be a matter of time. But also, I always like to tell folks, don't ever expect anything with rankings. Expect the bad. Just kind of, expect the worst, and anything that's a bump up is a good thing. Trey, you went to Alabama. Okay, right? You did?
No, I did.
Okay.
But I'm a Notre Dame guy here.
I know. But in your time following, Alabama and on different Alabama message boards and stuff, do Alabama fans, and I hope your answer is what I'm looking for, but Alabama fans, they complain about rankings too, right? Like, even though they're Alabama and they win everything, Do they feel slighted about rankings at times?
No, Mike, I think you could find fans at Oneonta University complaining about rankings. Everybody, Alabama included, Auburn, Clemson, Georgia, the biggest of schools with the best of classes. Everybody's out here complaining about
Yeah.
rankings.
Yeah, so Trey does a lot of different stuff for On Three on the YouTube side of things, and hosts this show. And yeah, so like I have a background like you, Trey, and then I've covered a bunch of different schools: Colorado, Oregon State, Mississippi State, Louisville, my alma mater, USF. Like I've covered a bunch of different schools, and it is no matter what, it's like, oh, insert rankings website here, hates insert favorite school name here. Like that's just kind of how it goes. But so I always like to mention that, but also I think
Well,
I don't like this ranking.
And to your point, Mike, we were even talking about it this morning. Players, parents, people are always going to want a little bit more. They look at the star rating, or maybe they read a certain article about their player or about themselves, even, and they're always going to want that extra star. They're always going to want that extra little bump there. But these guys are Charles Powers, the guys at the top here, the most diligent in the industry. They're doing their research. They're watching the film. They're going and seeing these guys. And like you said, you want it to be objective. It's always going to be subjective, but you want it to be objective in the sense that you're not pandering to certain fan bases. You're not pandering to the wishes of those that maybe don't feel they got the greatest, rating there. And that's always going to be the case. There's a lot of talent at the top. There's a lot of talent in this class, and I think from my point of view, Mike, it's always going to be fair, and it's always going to be as objective as possible. So just wait on your guy to be in that 5-star realm if he's not.
That's at least what you hope for, at least. All right, Trey. Do you see in our comments it says YouTube doesn't support comments on private videos? We're live.
We are live,
I
yes.
saw that no one's commented, and so I put in.
We can see it on the YouTube side here, and I'm seeing some great comments. I see Michael in there with some
it's just not showing up on.
Not showing up on our end here on the backside, but I do see our folks in YouTube.
I blame Trey. Trey, you set this stream up, so I blame you. Would you?
Please, I accept any kind of blame today.
What happened?
I'm here to take in the bad vibes and turn them right into good vibes. And happy Cinco de Mayo, you, Joe Bro. We got Matt eating some chalupas. Coach Humph is in the chat as well. So we got all our buddies over here. And guys, get your questions into that comment section as well. We're going to take some questions in just a little bit.
I've never seen this before. Did you know how that happens?
I know it. I was a little worried there for a second that we weren't going to have the energy in our comment section today, but they're there. And they're doing great.
Yeah, I pulled this up so I could see. YouTube changed something, Trey. I don't know if you noticed, like if I go look at YouTube comments, like on just a video or whatever, it has like the @ but the YouTube live chat has their name, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So Alex here changed his name to Tyler Buckner's little brother, but then when he comments on a video, it has like @ something, letters and numbers. Which I don't love because Tyler Buckner's little brother looks just like Tyler Buckner. So,
well, we'll see if he has a crazy discourse as well. But yeah, guys, get those comments in there.
I will. Please. Yeah, I'll have to just pull this up on the side because through our streaming setup, it's not letting me see comments like usual, so we can't pop up on the screen either. But the show will go on, Trey.
Show will go on, and we will get to those questions later on in the show as well. So please continue to get them in, even if we can't pop them on screen just yet.
I have one more.
Yeah,
one more guy. So I think Larson should get. I think he's proven enough to be a high-ranked player. And then there's someone like Cole Mullins, who I think should get a higher ranking down the road because he's coming to Notre Dame as a Viper, but he played a lot of inside linebacker as a junior. And a lot of times when a kid commits to a school and he, like as a junior or sophomore or whatever it is, he played out of position, then after his commitment, he'll play the position he's likely to play at the college. So he probably would play a lot more as a defensive end this upcoming season. And talking to different people in South Bend, people think that Cole Mullins, there's a shock that he didn't get, an offer from Clemson and some of those other schools in the South. So I think Cole Mullins is going to be one. It's going to be a big stock up guy. When I got to see him in person the day before he announced his commitment. I went up to his high school to chat with him. I was like, whoa, like this is one big dude. Listen, at 6'4", 240. I thought he was like 6'6", to be completely honest with you. I'm 6'2.5", and he towered over me, which I don't have that, feeling too often because, I'm a pretty big dude, but Cole Mullins is one big muchacho as well.
Oh, muchacho. I love the Cinco de Mayo lingo here. Have you ever been able to dunk, Mike, at 6'2.5"?
Yes, I dunked once when I was a freshman in high school. The luckiest thing that ever happened. I think it was the softest dunk ever. Um, and then it was in basketball practice too, like in layup lines, or something like that. And then a few times when I was a sophomore, and then I stopped playing basketball, and then could never dunk again. And now I think I could touch net.
Well, it's at
Gravity's
least
not my friend anymore, Trey.
hey, that's a feat to at least be able to do it once, and it sounds like multiple times there as well. So
There were
uh,
witnesses.
I was
So
gonna say I might need to see a tape here, but either way, you're 6'2.5". He's 6'4", like you said, a monster. Would be huge if he got a little bump there as well. Mill Creek High School continues to crank out the talent down there in Georgia. So
Caleb Downs, man, this is a special player, man. Just in seeing the just some of the the YouTube videos and tweets about him and that spring he had at Bama. Impressive player.
great spring game there
Yeah.
as well on national TV. Going to be excited to see how he does. Going to be excited to see how that shakes out there in Mill Creek as well.
Yep.
Let's talk about team rankings though here for 2024. Take a look at it, a snapshot where we're at right now, and kind of how you feel about Notre Dame within those team rankings.
All right, you know me. I love to kind of give context on things. For our football preview magazine of Blue and Gold, the big summer magazine we always do, we're putting Sam Hartman on the cover. And my good buddy Tim Hyde says, Mike, why aren't you putting Joe Alt and Blake Fisher on the cover? I mean, they're your future first round picks. And I said, Tim, wasn't talking to you about this, Trey. Now I am. I said, Tim, if we were publishing a magazine to a bunch of coaches, then yeah, we would. But we're publishing it to all Notre Dame fans. You're diehard, you're lukewarm, everyone. And I think for the wide consensus, it's Sam Hartman. They want to stay on that cover. Like there's so much excitement. So I say that to bring up the point of we do this YouTube show not for coaches, not for other media. I don't get on here and try to sound smart for colleagues and competitors. I do it we do this for Notre Dame fans. Like that's our point. So a lot of what we do and what I talk about is to give you guys my thoughts. And because I read all of your comments on YouTube and the message board and sometimes even Twitter, definitely not Facebook. But yeah, so I know what you guys say. So sometimes I don't agree, sometimes I do, but I like to communicate with you guys. So bring this around to the rankings discussion. This is the industry football rankings. Now, I think Rivals has Notre Dame's 2024 class currently at number 3. And the last time I checked at 24/7 was like number 5. At On3, Notre Dame is at 8. So you're thinking to yourself, how does Alabama have 6 commitments and Notre Dame has 14 and the Irish are 5 spots below, right? The difference, and this is important because I want people to understand the On3 rankings. I think it was last year, Texas Tech over at Rivals had like the number 3 class for a long time. And it was like, wow, Texas Tech off to a hot start. No, they were not. They just had more commitments than everybody else. So Rivals does a point system. If you're a 3-star at a 5.5, which their scale has never made sense to me. Spent 9 years there, never understood why the scale was started at 5.2 and went to 6.1. Besides point, it's like a 5.5, you get 60 points. A 5.6 is 75, and a 5.7 is 90 points. And it's a point. So it's just, you add it all up, and that's just it. So the more you commits you have, capped to 20, I think it is, the better your class is going to be. So if you have 18 commitments when everyone else has 6, you're going to have the number 1 class for a long time because it's just a point total. On3 is an average, though, and the average is based on a rolling. It's how do they word it? A rolling average of Power 5 schools. So they take all of the Power 5 schools in the country, add all their total commitments up, and then divide it by the number of Power 5 schools, right? So the average number of commits among Power 5 schools per class is 6 right now. So only 6 of Notre Dame's 14 commitments, so the highest 6, are used in this ranking, whereas Alabama's highest ranked 6, which they only have 6, is used for the ranking, and the same for all these schools. So while Rivals, I can't speak to 24/7 because I don't know how they do theirs, but I just know from Rivals, because I worked there for so long, Rivals is just the point total. But it doesn't really give you a long range assessment on where the class will end up ranking. Whereas with On3, it's much more of a projectable thing. Like Notre Dame is 8 right now. Like this is a true number 8, and this, might be trending in this direction closer to signing day. Does that make sense, Trey? Am I kind of explaining that right from what you know?
I don't do numbers very well, Mike, but it sounds like at Rivals they had almost like an earthquake scaled system. At On3, this is a true detailed average of what's going on.
Yeah,
From
I think so.
what I understand here.
So again, average number of rankings used in score. So this is just the average ranking of all of the commits in the class, and it's a 90. But when you just use the top 6 for Notre Dame, the score goes up. So it actually kind of helps Notre Dame here. Like I think if you can toggle it by average rating, Notre Dame's a little bit lower. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. One spot lower. So kind of just an interesting thing, Trey. Again, it was a little bit of a slower week for news. So, but I thought that was interesting to kind of talk to the folks about.
Yeah, and it really is a dynamic look, and you have the options there. You can check out the average, you can check out our consensus rating over there on On3 as well. So be sure to check that stuff out, and give us your thoughts on that as well, because it is a dynamic rating system as far as the team rankings go there.
Can we talk about Augie's locker room? Because that's dynamic, Trey.
Oh, it's the most dynamic way to complete your man cave, to complete your, your collection of Notre Dame memorabilia. Maybe you got a birthday coming up. Maybe you want to give somebody a Cinco de Mayo gift. I'm sure there's some, holiday-themed items in there as well, because they have it all, guys. Augie's Locker Room is your one-stop shop. If you're a passionate Notre Dame fan looking for that special piece of memorabilia, you can visit them online. You can visit them in person. You can give them a call. And once you do that, you're going to find one-of-a-kind items, Rockne items, stadium collectibles like flags. They have miniature statues from outside the stadium as well. All kinds of autographed memorabilia. I love autographs. I used to go to Braves games when they were terrible in the earlier part of the 2010s and wait out for autographs. If you want autographs, you can get autographs from Joe Montana. You can get autographs, from a wide range of former athletes, former Notre Dame heroes, as well as, like I said, those sculptures. Jerry McKenna, very detailed with his work here, created those bronze statues in miniature form for you. All kinds of stuff, guys. T-shirts, vintage clothing. And if he doesn't have it, Augie's going to go out and he is going to find it for you because he is the best in the business. Like I said, go visit them in person at 1811 South Bend Avenue. Go check them out at augieslockerroom.com. That is AUGIES. It's like Aggies, but replace the first G with a U, because this is Notre Dame, or you can give them a call. It's 574-277-INDY, like Notre Dame. Notre Dame, that's 574-277-INDY. We got a boxing glove. I don't even know where...
Someone's got to pick up this Tom Zbikowski boxing glove. So, yeah, former Notre Dame wide receiver and special teams ace, and then a boxer. I mean, come on. Signed boxing glove with the card. 140? Come on. And Zbikowski is a friend of Blue and Gold. Appeared on the Mike Goolsby show a few weeks back.
Yeah, excellent interview there. If you guys haven't seen that as well, go check it out. Go check out all the work on Blue and Gold in the Blue and Gold YouTube page, and check out Augie's Locker Room as well. Augie always doing a great job. He will go get what you need to complete that rec room. Mike, I know we got a stock watch on tap here. We got a couple of user questions. We're getting close to that 25 mark. How about we get to a question or two before we run through the stock watch?
All right. Couple from Michael. Next commitment for Notre Dame.
Loving the candid shot here as well on the side.
Sorry. I don't think a running back. Maybe Jason Robinson. Tight end. I'm just thinking who could pop before June. Offensive lineman, maybe like Styles Prescott. Defensive line, probably not anyone. Linebackers, maybe Bodhi Cahoon. Defensive backs. Safeties. Davis Andrews, probably not. I'm gonna say let's go Prescott. I think Styles Prescott or Bodhi Cahoon would be my two guesses. And then also, what percentage would you give as far as Notre Dame taking a fourth receiver in 2024? How about 50-50? Let's just keep it 50-50. So then either way, I'm right.
That's
You know?
vanilla. It's
Yeah.
Cinco de Mayo. I'm like, we need something spicier than that. But
What are you feeling on
we'll-
2024 direction at safety? Man, that's an interesting one because there's still a lot of names at safety. They just offered a kid from Louisiana. Paul Mankey, we reported at Blue and Gold. He's taken an official. I just mentioned Davis Andrews. I think Notre Dame has a slight lead there. Oliver Miles from El Campo, Texas is a big one. There's just a lot of names at safety. Whenever you have a board where you're at a specific position where you're looking to take a bunch of players and you still have a lot, Notre Dame might take, let's say, 3 safeties and or 4 maybe, and only have 1 committed, and there's a bunch of names, and for 3 spots, it's just kind of hard to gauge it. So follow the visits is a safe kind of way to progress there. So yeah, I think we're good with a couple questions. We'll see if we have any other ones we want to address at the end of the show.
Yeah, and guys, as you get your questions, hit that like button too. Help us out there.
Yeah.
Get the video a little bit more popping for us, if you don't mind. We can run through here, Mike. We did it last week. Let's do it again this week. The stock reports. I'll just go name by name real quick. Fire them off, and we'll see stock up or stock down. Let's start with Cole Sullivan. Up.
Let's start real quick with just a shout out. Liverpool, 5 straight wins, going for 6. 12:30 p.m. Eastern time against Brentford at home. Big one. Race for top 4.
Congratulations.
Up the Reds, baby. Where's Drunk Vigo in the chat when I need him to talk about Liverpool? Okay. Cole Sullivan, Pittsburgh Central Catholic. Stock. Where's the sound effect, Trey?
No, we don't have any quite yet, Mike. I apologize. I could sing it in here if you want, or whatever you're feeling.
Down. Stock down. Interesting one. I mean, I literally did a Gold Standard article Monday where I did a projected class or a bot class. Excuse me, finding on. I included them in there. I mean, things were looking good this late last week, and I think he just kind of went into. I think he's pretty close to decision mode from what I hear. He's supposed to take an official to Notre Dame in June, but my guess right now is he probably doesn't make it to June as an uncommitted prospect. And yes, that school in Ann Arbor looks to be the favorite. Justin Scott. I always have to throw him in here just because everyone wants to talk about him. And all the buzz about Miami recently. See, the RPM says that Miami. Trey, I'm struggling. Sorry, I was struggling a couple of weeks ago on our last Friday show. I'm not like I'm up for the show, and I'm just fighting a yawn, man. And you don't want to yawn on air. I might have to remove myself in a moment.
It's Friday, man. It's been a long week. You're good.
Miami, the favorite for the RPM, but I'm still stock steady for Notre Dame here. I don't think it's stock drop. I think the stock has already been pretty high for Notre Dame, and I think it's going steady. Yeah, Notre Dame sources are still very, I would say, I'm just trying to find the word of something optimistic. I don't want to say cautiously, like realistically optimistic. Let's go with that.
I like it.
Jacob Smith, stock down. His brother committed to Michigan, and I logged a prediction for him. I'm moving myself. I'm so.
Well, this yawn break is brought to you by Augies Locker Room, along with our good friends at My Perfect Franchise. If you got a yawn coming on, think about them on this Friday here as Mike fuels the brain.
We're covered, and I think I got something in my eye. All right, we're back. Yeah, I flipped my picture.
Finish here, Mike. Here we go.
I've made my thoughts clear on this. If let's say I have a prediction for a recruit to go to Notre Dame, and then I hear that he's committing to a different school, I leave my pick in for Notre Dame and I just take the L. Like for Jared Smith, I just take the L. Or if, you know, you hear that, oh, so and so is just suddenly committed to Notre Dame, it's announcing their commitment in a couple days. I don't then log the prediction. I think predictions should be predictions. Like I do not know something, but I hear things, but I'm going to predict. I don't like predictions where it's, oh, I know that who's a recent commit. Michael Gilbert just told Notre Dame on his visit that he's committing. I'm going to log a prediction. You're not predicting anything because it already happened. It's just going. So I just think it's I just think it's kind of a cheap way to do it, and you know, people can do it. I mean, it doesn't bother me, but I'm just kind of giving my thoughts like I promised people. But yeah, stock down. I did flip my prediction here. Jacob Smith is not committed to my knowledge, silently to Michigan. Again, otherwise I wouldn't have done it, but I did have that kind of window. So I don't also want to lead Notre Dame fans astray and think, oh, Mike Singer still has that Notre Dame prediction for Jacob Smith. Is he still going there? So I like to update them when I can. Carter Nelson, tight end from Ainsworth, Nebraska. How about a stock slightly up? This is one that I hadn't heard about for a while. When it comes to Notre Dame, we hadn't been to campus since last November, and then I know in April. Sorry, Trey.
You're good, man. I know another week of sleep loss over those darn displaced corporate executives.
Dude, the displaced corporate vendor has been getting me. I mean, I was up till 3 a.m. last night, man. I was rocking some fort with the boys until 2, and then was just scrolling Reddit until like 3 in the morning.
Gosh. Well, we'll get some margarita, maybe some pizza, and get you fueled up here. But
then I woke up. Trey, I woke up, and I thought it was about 45 minutes later than I wanted to wake up, so that was clutch. Okay, but Carter Nelson, visits Auburn, Colorado, Bama, Ole Miss, Georgia, and Tennessee this spring. No trips to Notre Dame. So I was kind of like, yeah, this one doesn't look very good for the Irish. Taking an official to Notre Dame in June. We reported that at Blue and Gold. So, yeah, stock slightly up because it was pretty low for me. But you get him on campus for one of those 5 officials in June, who knows? Cooper Perry, a 2025 wide receiver, stock up. Loving Notre Dame here. I mean, the kid goes to a school called Notre Dame Prep. I mean, heck, that sounds pretty good for the Fighting Irish, if I don't say so myself. Yeah, 4-star pass catcher. Pretty decent offer list so far. Pot of Gold Day offer. Notre Dame loves him. I think Perry loves Notre Dame. I think the Irish have the lead for him right now. Don't be surprised by the prediction. If that happens soon, don't be surprised, folks. And then last, but certainly not least, mentioned him earlier, Bodhi Cahoon. Goes to high school in Patrick Henry in Virginia. Originally from Zionsville, Indiana. So that's an Indy area kid. Ohio State lacrosse commit. I like Notre Dame here, though. Keep a close eye on Bodhi Cahoon this spring. As we wrap up the spring and enter the summer, I like where the Irish are at for him. And that's wrapping up the stock report. And I always want to mention real quick to folks, if you're just tuning in, we had good stuff at the beginning of the show. You can hear my thoughts on Buc-ee's and Taco Bell. So yeah. And now we have a sexy man in the chat, Trey. I don't know if you know. We got sexy man. How does On3 calculate team rankings? It seems to be weirdly off. So I mean, we touched on this, but so basically, let me just pull up. Okay. So Cahoon's industry ranking here is an 88.83. So that's the score. And then so if Cahoon were commit to Notre Dame and be among the top 6 commits or, that rolling average, then you would add up all those, your highest ranked 6 commits, their industry ranking score, divide that by 6, and that's it. And then you just stack that up against everybody else in the country. So that's how that works. It's pretty simple. It's just this average. It's just an average of your commits that are in that industry. I'm not a public speaker for a living. I mean, I kind of do YouTube channel. I'm struggling here to get this explained, but
Math is tough, man. It's hard to explain.
so the average number, this is just the kind of tongue twister. The average number of commits using the score rankings is 6. So you take the score of Notre Dame's 6 highest ranked commits. So it's Kane Williams, CJ Carr, Aeneas Williams. Yeah, right. Did Aeneas just get a bump? Is he really?
Well, Charles Power is obviously watching the show and heard you there.
So yeah, Kane Williams, CJ Carr, Aeneas, Micah Gilbert, Canyon, and Peter Jones. So there's your top 6. Their individual score rankings of 95, 0.92, 94. You just do the math there, and then it spits out the average of 92.29, 209, and then you just that's where it is. So it's fairly simple. You sexy man. How come they only do 6? So the 6 is based on the average number of commits. It should say Power 5 because they don't include Group of 5. So it's how many commits do Power 5 schools have? They just average that, and right now the average is 6. So that's why it's 6 right now. And that obviously, you might refresh this page tomorrow and it might say 7 because a bunch of more schools got more than that average raised. So that's why I failed to mention this when I was talking about this earlier. That's why this is more of like a better indicator of where the class is now rather than just a popularity contest of how many commits you have, right? Because this is the amount of commits that your peers have. How do your commits stack up to theirs rather than, again, just the amount of commits? And then, let's look at 2023. 18, right? So it's a different number each year, whereas Rivals just does a flat 20 every year, your top 20 guys. Whereas this it just makes more sense, the average. So, yeah, I hope that makes sense.
Quality versus quantity. This is a look at the quality of your class.
Trey, why didn't you just say that like 20 minutes ago? And that's really what it is. It's not a popularity contest. It's looking at the quality over quantity. I think this is a much better way to do rankings because, again, it's a much more fair look at the recruiting rankings for the entire cycle. Again, just compared to how many commitments you have.
Yeah, and overall today we have some timid stock ups on our stock wedge here, some evens, and had to get the effect in here, Mike.
We had some stock downs as
well on our show today. Got to pull out beta mode. Well, we got it. Happy Cinco de Mayo, everybody. Thank you for joining us for this edition of the Notre Dame Recruiting Update. As we wrap it up here, guys, hit that like button one more time for me. Let us know your closing thoughts on the show. Let us know what you're doing for Cinco de Mayo, anything you got fun coming up here, because I saw some Liverpool love in the chat there as well. Mike, anything we got coming up here? There we go. Always repping. Anything we got coming up here on the website at Blue and Gold this week?
Yeah, I got some good stuff coming up this weekend. I hit 4 years covering Notre Dame on May 1st. So soon, I was hoping to do it tomorrow morning. A list of the 10 biggest Notre Dame recruiting wins since I've been covering Notre Dame. So I think that'll be a cool article. I'm going to do a story comparing the big 3 of Notre Dame's receiver class in 2023 of James Flores and Greathouse to the big 3 Notre Dame has committed so far, and Gilbert, Canyon, and Williams. Gold Standard Monday morning is always a big hit. So, yeah, I mean, this is just kind of a little taste of what we do at Blue and Gold, and then you got to go to the website for all the good stuff.
Go check it out. Blue ampersand and gold.com. Check them out there. Subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. And thank you guys for being here as always. Thank you to our friend Augies Locker Room, and thank you to my perfect franchise as well. Mike, go have some fun tonight. Maybe go get some rest here in the meantime as well. We're going to check back in next week. But until then, guys, thanks for joining this week's edition of the Notre Dame Recruiting Update. Have a great weekend, everybody. Let's go Fighting Irish.